Well, welcome to Modeling Time with me, Brian Banna. And as the title says, this is the final chapter in the saga of the GP35 build. You've seen me take it from being 6 Missouri Pacific GP35s down to a single Pennsylvania Railroad GP35. I have these ideas of I just want to get models done, so I'm going to compromise on the detail level and just get through them and get them out and, enjoy them and stuff like that. But as I start working on them, the detail stuff starts creeping in, and it's just what I do. I like modeling, but I also like getting models done, so I have to come to a happy medium somewhere to get to that point. So I think I found it with this final Pennsylvania version, and so I've gotten it to the point where it's time to get it painted, assembled, and get it operating. So, or rather, paint, decal, assemble, and get it operating. So let me get the camera set up, and let me show you where I'm at with it and what I need to do to finish it, and talk about a few things that's going to happen with it. All right, as you can see, the hood is painted, and it's now ready for a clear coat. But before I move on to that, it was painted with Mission Models paints. And it was a mix, so I used 2 parts of the dark green MMP058, and I used 1 part of the black MMP047. I mix up enough of that so I can paint everything. So I got the hood painted, I got all the fan bits painted, you can see up over here. I got the dynamic brake hatch painted and such. So the next step is to put on my favorite gloss coat, which is All Clad 2 Aqua Gloss. If you want to use this, do not shake the bottle. Do not shake the bottle. You'll induce air bubbles into it, which can transfer to your finish. So just use it as it is. You don't need to shake it. So right now, I'm going to get all these green parts in a clear coat. All right, so now you see the gloss coat is on. So I'm going to let this cure for about a day. Probably tomorrow I'll put the decals on it. But the All Clad Aqua Gloss, it dries really fast. It cures fully in about 6 hours. But I'm going to let it go overnight so that when I put the decals on it, everything's cool. So I'm going to set this aside. I got the fans and everything. Let me zoom out and over here. There you can see the fans are all painted, and they have a gloss coat on them. There's the brake pump and stuff like that. So the next step for me tonight, I've got some painting to do on some box cars. So when I'm done doing that on these fans, these aluminum colored fans, I'm going to put a satin varnish on them. Then I can get them into their spots and get the fan grills on them, and then decal it, shoot a clear coat over the decals to seal the decals, and I'm going to go over how I glue on these grills and get it all touched up around them and all that stuff. So right now I'm just going to let the clear coat cure. Well, I had another run-in with defective etching. After I painted it and everything, I noticed that it wasn't sitting flat. So, at closer inspection, let me see if we can get this into focus. Where is that focus? There we go. So at closer inspection, I noticed that there's 1, 2, 3, 4 broken radial lines. You can see that's moving pretty good. So that one goes in the trash. Another fan that's no good. But thankfully, I had another one in my parts bin from the original etcher, so I'm going to be using that one. Now I've got these fans were from the original, these grills were from the original etcher also. So I was lucky there. And so I've got these ones glued in. I've got this one built. And I show you how this one was built when I when it was all just bare metal and bare plastic and stuff. So I'm going to show you how I glue in these fans. The fan's already glued in. The way I glued in the fans is I just put them in there, and then from underneath I applied the glue. You can also see in here that I've installed the fascia so you don't see into the shell, or the false bottom, or whatever you want to call it. So that's taken care of. So now we're going to glue in this fan grill. Now, there is a top and a bottom. You'll notice on the top, you've got these, where these radial lines come in, you got these little like cavities. And that's where actually the grill gets all tied together underneath. And on the bottom side, there's nothing. So that's the bottom, and that's the top. So we're going to drop that on there, and we're going to see if we can't get it set in to the fan housing like that. Now it sticks up a little over here. That's okay. What you want to make sure of, that at least one side is down inside the fan housing. And when these were brand new from Gordon, they just snapped right in beautifully, but because of all the flash that's taking place on them, they don't do that very well. So right now, this side right here is sitting down in there. So what I'm going to do is take some thin CA that glued itself to the cap. So let me just open that up real quick. There we go. So I'm going to put down some thin CA. All right. And I'm going to take my little applicator tool. I'm going to make sure this is held in place. And I'm going to find a spot and apply the CA only where the grill wire makes contact with the grill. Then I'm going to make sure that's down in there. All right, now I've got one part tacked in. Now I'm going to move to the other side that's sticking up. I'm going to press that in. And I'm going to glue that pie shape in. Make sure that's down inside. Okay, now I can go around and hold it down and glue it in. So I'm going to start where I originally was, right here. And I'm going to glue that. I'm going to show you how I keep the CA. Make sure it's, yeah, this side's sticking down there. Make sure the CA doesn't get all glossy on you. So after you apply the CA, take your finger and just wipe it off, and it'll dull it down. And you won't get all that white or that shiny glossy finish on the CA. Now what I do is I glue it all the way around. This part sticking up right here. Now I can go to the other side and start laying it in. I'm going to look at it down this way, and everything is below the lip. Right now, nothing's sticking up, so I can just go ahead and glue it in all the way around. And that's done. So now the dynamic brake grill's glued in, and I did glue it in the correct way. Got a little worried there that because typically I'll do something like that. I'll think I'm doing it right, and I'll look out, oh crap, it's on the wrong way. So anyway, that's all taken care of. There is no orientation as far as where these wires are, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, a quick tip here I forgot to mention. When you're putting pressure on your fans to get the outer circle to press into your fan housing, do it from this side. Don't use your tool from this side. There's a chance you might slip off and then crush your grill right into your fan blades and stuff. So keep it on this edge and angled out this way. That way if you slip, you come off this way. So just a little, heads up on that. So this is basically done. Now, there are some areas that, I didn't get the CA wiped off quick enough, so they're a little glossy and stuff. So what you can do is you can use your paint and that you painted your shell with, and just carefully go around the edge, and then I'll shoot a very light coat of gloss varnish over it, and it'll blend it all right back in. So that's just a tip there. And that's basically what I did, is I mixed up some paint. I went right around the joint where the fan grill glued to the housing, painted it on, and then shot it with a very light coat of gloss to color correct the paint. And now the fans are all done and they're all in. You can see that they're flat up on the top. They don't stick out any, and they're not concave. So everything looks really good up on top. So it's now I can move right into the decal work. Get the hood decaled, put a gloss coat over the decal, get the number boards in and all that, and then it's just get the lights in and assemble. Well, I made an oversight mistake, assuming that it was like this on all GP35s. It's not. That's me not paying attention to what I'm looking at. I was just getting ready to do decal work, and you know that that label, danger 600 volts? Well, I found all the locations it was at, and I was thinking, usually it's on the contactor door also, and I don't remember seeing that. So I looked at the photo again, and I didn't see it up there. But the photo was kind of not good on that side. It was a little fuzzy, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe they didn't have it there. And something inside me is saying, you know what? Maybe the door's not there. Maybe this door is not supposed to be there. So I started looking at the series that this 2317 was in, and lo and behold, that door is not supposed to be there. So I've got to get rid of it. So what I'm going to do, I don't think it's going to be too bad. Let me zoom in a little bit more, see if we get some more light on it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to carve off this line right here. Let me get my pointer out here. I'm going to carve off that line right there. I'm going to carve off these door latches, and then I'll put a piece of 5000 styrene into that area there, glue it in, and then fill it, and then blend it in, and then make sure that there's a seam right here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and get it all blended in, sanded down, filled where it needs to be filled, and then repainted. And I got to do that without accidentally grabbing it and crushing the grill and stuff. and getting any paint down inside of there. So probably what I'll do is I'll mask right up here, and then when I shoot the paint, I'll shoot it this way and a little bit this way, and then I'll color correct it with the gloss coat, and everything should be just fine. So I'm going to go ahead and get that fixed. I can't live with it now that I know it's like that, and we'll move on from there. All right, so I've got everything carved off, and I've got a piece of 5/1000 glued in there. So now I just have to let that cure really good and strong, and then I can carve the top portion off. So I lined up the bottom, which is flat with the bottom edge, and then the part where the dynamic brake hatch goes vertical straight down and then into that curve, I overhung that area, and I'll carve that off and blend it. The front needs just a tiny bit of blending. This side doesn't need anything at all. So I'll let that cure and tackle that part later. I can still do the decal work because nothing has to be put on the dynamic brake hatch. Okay, well, I've got everything all patched up and repainted. So there's a side that has the new, or the door patched over, and so there's no door there. So there's that one. And it looks just as good, I think, as this side, the original side, or the other side that didn't have a door. So it should look just like that. So now, all I have left to do, let's look at this. So I've got the hood painted, the dynamic brake hatch painted, decals on, everything's in. So what's left to do is I used some clear red Tamiya paint, and I painted the class lights because they're supposed to be red. So I got to put those in. So those are drying right now. I need to put in, so I got the number boards on and all that. I need to give this a satin varnish. Then I need to put the lights in, these lights here, which is just slip them in, they press fit in. And then put the lenses over the light housing, solder up the lights, install the class lights, and it's ready for operation. So right now I'm going to get the dynamic brake hatch and the hood in a satin varnish. Well, folks, after I got that dynamic brake hatch fixed and painted, I did a mighty push, and she's all done. Everything's in. She runs beautifully. I mean, if I turn the sound off, you could hear a pin drop a mile away for how quiet this thing. I mean, realistically, no, but you understand what I'm saying. But she's all done. I've got the class lights in. They're red. I've got everything done. Of course, the class lights on the back also. You can see here. Got those in. I got everything on. All the wires are tucked in nicely. Everything's done. I got another model done. Woohoo! I will put at the end of this video, after my closing thoughts, still photos of it so you can see it all assembled and everything and stuff. And one little tip though, what did we learn tonight? Do not, let me zoom in on this a second. Do not put this grab iron on, or if it's on this side, don't put it on until after you've put the sub base in. I had to put a piece of tape on this side of the hood and stretch the battery box over to get it around that. The reason I had to put a piece of tape on this side of the hood, because this ATS box, there's a little pipe on it on the back that goes up against the hood, and if I slide it down, it's going to leave a mark on the shell. So I put a little piece of Tamiya masking tape on there, and slid it down over that while I pulled this side of the battery box out and around that grab iron. I had to do a little bit of touch-up paint on the grab iron on this side right here. Keep getting off camera. On this side right here, but I got it on. Everything's in. The lights work great. The sound is great. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So that's my Pennsylvania GP35. I'll video it with the startup and all that, so you can hear the sound, you can see the lights, you can see how nice it runs. It creeps very, very slowly at speed step 1, but it's much better at speed step 2. It kind of jerks a little bit at speed step 1, but speed step 2 it comes on really nicely. So this unit is done, and so I've got another one under my belt. So I'm going to close this video out with a closing thoughts, and then I'll put some still photos up of it so you can see it, in light and the whole model and such. So let me zoom back a little bit, just give you a look at it here. So there we go. You basically can only see it from the top and stuff, but I'm so happy I did that push and got her done. I'm really happy I noticed that this side needed the door removed, because I would have been really bummed if I finished it and then noticed that afterward. It's just another one of those, well, I'll get to it next time if I ever build another one of these, but I'm really happy that I saw that. Okay, so she's on the track. Let's get her started up. I got her programmed in, and alright, so I'm going to run it in reverse, so the light's going to cut out. Here's speed step 1. And you can see it's just kind of jerking there. So I'll go to 2. Then we'll go up to 10. So that's it. So I think I need to dial the sounds in a little bit more, maybe up the sound of the prime mover. Maybe not. I think it's actually pretty nice. Maybe the bell needs to be just a tad louder. Horn I think is just fine. But she runs really smooth, really smooth. So that's basically it. Well, that takes care of that GP35 project. I finally finished a model. Well, I finished 2 this year. My goal at the beginning of the year was to finish 4, but I got half of it done. I mean, I probably could get 1 more done before the end of the year, but I'm not gonna bet on that. So anyway, things that I learned about the things that I learned going through the project. Here I am trying to talk too fast again. Definitely the grab iron on the side of the nose. Don't put that on until the last thing after you've gotten the sub bass on. Another thing that I've learned, which I think I learned with all of my projects, don't think you know everything. Check your photos. Make sure that you're positive of the details that go there or the details that are not supposed to be there. In the case with this one is that door on the side of the dynamic brake hatch. So, you know, things like that. Also check my parts before I put them on. Make sure they're not broken like I found with the fan grill. And I keep looking back at the model. I should just look at you while I'm talking to you. And, you know, things like that. They're little things, but they go a long way to ensuring that you build your model properly. And at the end, like for instance, if I didn't know that door wasn't supposed to be there and I got through with that model and I'm running it and then one day I find out, it would ruin it for me for the model. I know I'd have to live with it, but actually on that part I could probably fix it because there's no decals or anything like that. And I could fix it like I did just with this model, catching it in time before I was done with it because I had already painted it and stuff like that. So anyway, what's next up? I do not know. I have a number of projects, excuse me, that I'm working or not working on, but that I want to work on. I've got a ABA set of Phase 1 F3s. I've got a GP9B unit that I want to do. I've got New York Central GP35, maybe 1B3 that I want to do. I've got 2 SD40s I'd like to do in Pennsylvania. I've got my CPT&C GP28s. And I've got, I'd like to do a Peoria and Eastern GP7. I also have my FA1Ms that I want to work on. So I don't know yet what it's going to be. I'm kind of leaning toward the GP9B unit, but like I said, right now, as soon as I decide on something, then the other thing is, no, but I want to do that. And then I go, yeah, I'll do that. No, I want to go back to doing this. So I don't know yet. I'm going to work on some freight cars right now. But I'll probably pick up on another locomotive project here very, very quickly. So, if you made it through all of these videos, I really appreciate your time, and you guys are great. You know, you stayed with me through the, you know, going through 6 Missouri Pacific GP35s down to a restart of doing, 3 or 4 CPT&C GP28s, down to another restart of doing just the one Pennsylvania 35. I'm glad I settled on the 35 or the Pennsylvania 35. It was a lot of fun. I'd never done, or I can't say I've never done a Pennsylvania unit. I did I did a Penn Central with Pennsylvania paint. So that was a long, long time ago. But this is my first full PRR unit, and I'm really happy that I did it. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll leave you with some still shots of this model.